make sure you have a nice sharp pencil. In the second part, we're going to be working on grills. And so this model of SD40-2 has the later version of grills. Where in several of my earlier video, we've been doing GP35 and GP40 models that have the mesh grill. This SD40-2 has the later style grill that carries on to SD50s, SD60s, where it's just straight vertical lines. GP40-2s, GP38-2s. Later models of those have this grill. It literally is just straight vertical lines. Kind of put a little box of trim around it and then just put the straight vertical lines. These kinds of grills are a little more basic to do. And basically the blower duct always has this kind of grill on -2 locomotives and even on GP40s. The main kind of engines that don't have it's like GP35s don't have this on their blower duct. They have a mesh grill. Okay, why don't we move on to the dynamic brake? And then the dynamic brake goes all the way to the front. It's sort of a diagonal line to the back and goes to right about here. And the dynamic brake, as we've said in several of these other videos, basically just has a little tiny grill. Just little tiny vertical grill. And I'll be adding grill playlists to the end of these videos so that you can watch how to work on your grills. The different kinds, like when I'm doing the later grills here, you can study how to do the mesh grills so that you can do different kinds of grills. Now that we've done the grills, why don't we do a few more details to get this locomotive ready to put trucks underneath it. Like we can put the battery box. It's not specifically a truck detail, but kind of keep moving the engine on. Actually, here's one of the things. One of the minor things I just realized, which as I said, don't be afraid to erase. Actually, in Dash 2 locomotives, I had drawn the cab all the way down, and some of you at home might have already recognized this. Actually, Dash 2's indents in a little bit right there. It's a little harder to see on this drawing, but why don't we move it in the tiniest bit. On a BNSF engine, it's easy enough to move in. On some engines where it's gray or yellow, it's a little more challenging. Put the ratchet brake in. And this is actually one of the main next parts that we're needing to put in. Right here is this part of the walkway. This basically frames in the truck. Can I get the eraser dust off of this? Don't be afraid to erase. Basically, this engine would be ready to put trucks under it, but it doesn't hurt to put a couple more details on it so we keep this moving forward. Why don't we put the blower itself, blower duct. Why don't we put the cab window? It's right at about a ½ inch, a little less. Then in a ¼ inch from each side. Then you go almost to the top, but not quite, because there's a sunshade. Let you kind of see what. And then there's a mirror on the front. See, there's cab window. And while we're at it, why don't we put the radiator fans? They kind of come in a little bit from the ends, and they're right at almost 3/4 inch. And the ones over the dynamic brake. Put those cooling fans. And kind of just put a line through them, because what it is, they're in two pieces, kind of have a joint. And there's a sand filler hatch here. Sand filler hatch here, grab iron, and then number board. And 1, it's kind of time to sharpen my pencil, and 2, why don't we just sort of take a break and then we'll come back and start putting the trucks on this.